Happy Wednesday, Sooner Nation. Welcome back to the Sooner Surge for a little midweek softball video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You hit the like, you comment on our videos. It really helps our channel. We appreciate all the support from you guys, our viewers. Also, check out the fan stop at thefanstop.com. Sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club so you can be guaranteed to get the St. Patty's Day special shirt in March. A little midweek recap of the Sooners 6-0 start. Jackson, and guys, tomorrow we'll have a preview of the Getterman Classic where the Sooners open up against Hofstra on Saturday at noon, followed by Baylor that day. So a good weekend softball action coming up. But before we get to that, little midweek recap. Sooners went West Coast, came out unscathed, although not to say there wasn't some adversity because they fought a lot of adversity, but 6-0. Just some opening thoughts from you, Jackson, as we're sitting here 6-0. Getting ready for the Getterman Classic.
Yeah, well, I think it was kind of it's a different 6-0 maybe than what Oklahoma fans have been accustomed to, just because of the youthfulness of this team, the inexperience, them getting themselves into spots where they had opportunities early in games to take advantage of driving in runners. That was an issue quite a bit. Jeremy was not being able to convert with runners on base. And that has to do with Oklahoma switching things up so much in the lineup, players getting the experience to step up and make these huge hits when it's needed. But I thought Oklahoma, something that's so encouraging is that players stepped up when plays needed to be made, and that's super encouraging, as I said, Jeremy. And also, I think that Ella Parker, just what she did, we kind of knew that she was on maybe the edge of superstar, but I think that she maybe in this first week achieved that of being the superstar of this team, along with Cassidy Pickering as well, Jeremy. Those are going to be the two heads of this team when it comes to the offense, and you have Abby Dayton, who is going to play a big role along with the other contributors. But I thought those are just some things that Oklahoma, they were able to respond to adversity in multiple situations in which they needed it most, and different players stepped up and contributed.
Yeah, Ella Parker, Player of the Week as well. And Jackson, you mentioned a couple things. One in particular, the lineup changes. 6 games, 6 different lineups. Never once did Patty Gasso stick with the same lineup. Only a few players even played the same position. I think it's interesting. You had Sydney Sanders did play one game where she was only the extra hitter, and Gabby Garcia was at first base. To me, that highlights the fact that Patty Gasso really wants Gabby Garcia on the field. In whatever way they can get her on the field. So also you had, I think you talked about the timely hitting was lacking, and I agree. They left a whole lot of runners on base. But if you had to give the clutch hitter of the opening weekend, it's probably going to be Isabella Emmerling with a couple of massive clutch hits, and then even in the Long Beach game after this team could not get anything going. She's drew a really tough walk. I think it was the 11th inning. She's the one that drew a walk there. But, yeah, I think Patty Gasso is going to continue to make lineup changes. There's no rush to get everything the right way right now because right now you just got to see continue to play different lineups, play different players, get a lot of experience for these young players, and they did that. Sydney Barker, a lot of experience. Infield was really moved around a lot outside of NellyMac.
Yeah. And something that I was super shocked about whenever I was just checking out the stats and everything was Sydney Sanders. Her average right now is 385, Jeremy. I would not have guessed that with how she played, but I mean, that shows that maybe the consistency starting to come. I know it's what a lot of Oklahoma fans complained about last year with Sydney Sanders, whenever she did make a ton of clutch plays when Oklahoma needed them. But I think it's only right we talk about Audrey Lowry, Jeremy. As a true freshman, every opportunity she got, she wasn't just good. She was great. She dominated in Oklahoma with the arms on this team, and Sam Landry, Isabel Smith, who had a phenomenal weekend, Kirsten Deal. The pitching rotation, it might be a little bit more deep than we anticipated. Not that we didn't think it was deep, but you kind of figured through maybe like the first weekend, you'd kind of feel it out. Who's going to be your one or two arms? You would start to get a sense, but I don't think we know that yet because there still is a ton left to be proven, especially with how good Isabella Smith played as well, but I think that there's just so much there with your arms. And Peyton Monticelli, she didn't get much of an opportunity, but we know the potential is there with her. Will she maybe get to start in this upcoming weekend against Hofstra? That's something to see in the first game. So I think that's something to watch, is just who along the arms is going to step up and continue to maybe push themselves amongst the rest to be that ace, if there even is an ace this year. That's
No,
something that we
there's not going to be. Hey, I mean, four pitchers pitched at least 5 innings. Yet
yeah.
Isabella Smith, Kirsten Dill, Audrey Lowry, and Sam Landry. And Sam Landry pitched the most innings, and that's not a surprise. I think she'll continue to pitch the most. But to have four pitchers pitch over 5 innings, and Monticelli, I think, faced 4 batters the entire week. And look, I think that's going to be her role. It's going to be a pitcher who's need to come in and get some outs, a couple of outs, show a different thing. And I think you can kind of squash the talk of Ella Parker and Agbiani pitching it all, because they've got five really good pitchers. They're going to do most of the work. And honestly, it was probably the bright spot of the entire first 6-game set that they had, because I was very, very impressed with the pitching staff, with the variety that Patty Gasso can throw out there. Just very, very impressive overall.
Yeah, and I think another thing as well is you talked about the lineup changes that Oklahoma made. It could have affected how they played on the defensive end. They played really good on the defensive end of the field, in my opinion. They looked very crisp. I thought Isabella Emmerling behind the plate, I thought she was phenomenal. Obviously, having the high expectations to replace Hansen, because she's one of the greatest to ever do. I thought she made a name for herself amongst the Sooner fans in this first weekend. Nellie Mack at third, I thought, did great. You know you're going to get from Sydney Sanders, Abby Dayton in center field, the infielders, second and shortstop. Doesn't matter who it was, Jeremy. Defensively, Oklahoma was great, and I think that's kind of maybe what we expected in a sense. Oklahoma defensively, with the athletes that they have on this team, I thought something they were going to be very, very strong at. But I think that still, it's just impressive to know a team that's so young seems so well connected on the field. And that's something you don't see from a lot of young teams in sports in general. And Oklahoma softball, they continue to be the best coached and continue to show why they're the standard.
And Patty Gasso, we know, has been rejuvenated. She's got the honor of coaching in the Olympics coming up, and really at the peak of her game, as always. And the Sooners Getterman Classic coming up. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel, because we're going to have a video tomorrow breaking down those games this weekend. And you got Baylor kind of right around the corner after Hofstra, so that's going to be a fun one. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Check out the Fan Stop. Sooners are 6-0 and getting ready for the Getterman Classic. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you next time, Sooner Nation.